Mate, it would be remiss of me not to talk about Mr. Logic, right?
Yeah.
Anybody that lived in the UK in the 1990s, the 2000s would know about, Tony, you would know about the Viz and all that sort of stuff, right? So the note that I've made here is about...
Still going.
Yeah, is it still going, is it?
Yeah. I'll explain what it is to people that don't know, so don't. Yeah.
So you talk about, like, Mr. Logic is a pain in the arse, extremely dislikable and non-empathetic, and I've put in there he could almost be a safety person. So not obviously not this room. Right? Just to call that out now, right? Just in case I get heckled. I'm used to getting heckled by the. So I was just wondering, like, what could we do as safety professionals to sort of really not to be seen as a Mr. Logic, because there is people like that out there, and I dare say we work with some as well.
Yeah. So Viz, for people that I'm familiar, this is basically, you can, the blurring's not helping, but it's a basic sort of adult comic, not in the sense of porn, but in the sense of sort of quite cutting, piss take type stuff. It's very funny, but very sort of inappropriate, and it's been running for kind of about sort of 20 or 30 years, and so when I was a student, there were millions of copies of this thing were sold in the UK, and then I think it fell out a little bit into sort of, it was less of, I don't know, maybe I thought I was more mature than that, whatever. But I recently discovered it again, and one of the characters in Viz is called Mr. Logic, and the joke behind Mr. Logic is that he's just incredibly logical, takes everything 100% literally, and so is frankly a bit of a dick. Right, because he just like will say inappropriate things, and just does and ends up generally dealing with people that have low tolerance for idiots. And so I love this character. One, I wanted to make people aware of Viz because I think it's it's literally the best value subscription I have in terms of behavioral insights, because they're going for stupid, ridiculous, extreme characters that prove an interesting behavioral insight. And it's funny because they're grabbing situations that we all recognize from real life. And Mr. Logic I like because Mr. Logic, basically, his whole approach to life is the one that you see in many kind of compliance and health and safety contexts, where it's sort of we're gonna just take everything literally, and we'll assume, for example, that because we trained someone on it 8 years ago, they will have remembered it. Because of course they will, because they've got nothing else going on in their lives. Or that we need to literally patronize people, or we need to think about, hypothetical situations that are never going to happen. What I call murder is bad type training. Many organizations, my background's in banking, you get these sort of situations where people are being trained, and it's like your client, here's a scenario, right? Your client has come in and their sister has appeared with a suitcase full of money. What do you do? And it's like, that's never going to happen. If it does happen, everybody's going to go, that's a bit weird. I'll investigate. We don't need help with that sort of crap. And yet, Mr. Logic's world, they need to be told the logical. The thing people need help with isn't the black and white in the world. It's the gray areas, right? Things that are nuanced, complicated conclusions and situations. And so it's a good illustration, I think, of and it's exaggerated. So it's beautiful. So we're not picking on real people, although we're pointing in the direction of people that we would all recognize and saying, look, that's not how real humans operate. And so what we need to think about, and the major message in the book is saying that we don't need to we should think not about what we would like people to do, but what they are likely to do. In other words, right, we can have a fantasy land where we all go, everybody is thinking health and safety all the time. That's their number one priority. They're not thinking about anything else. They're on top of this. They get it, which is just unrealistic, right? Because they've got whatever it is their day job is to do. And so they're focusing on that. And so health and safety is just one of the many things that are out there that are bugging them that they need to think about. And of course, if it's a matter of life and death and they recognize it, then it will be salient and relevant to them. But very often we design these stylized systems for human beings as if they had nothing else to do, as if they're 100% logical. And that's not the case. And so what I say is look at situations that we're in. If we're trying to prevent them from doing something or getting them to do something, let's during the pandemic, is how do we get people to wear masks? Well, you can wear a mask badly, right? You can stick it on your forehead and still technically be wearing a mask, not helpful. So we need to recognize, if something is going to be a pain in the butt for people, right? And stopping them from breathing is a good example of something that's not particularly comfortable. We have to work with them, and let's not pretend that it's fun. You know, I saw lots of campaigns. Let's wear masks. It's really fun. Big mask with a smiling face. It's a pain in the butt, right? Nobody wants to put this thing on their face. And so let's work with the realities of the situation. Let's not pretend that something is super simple. And let's understand the emotions people are going through. So strapline there is don't think about what you would like people to do, think about what they are likely to do. And Mr. Logic is spending the whole time thinking logically about what he would like people to do. I say, let's focus on real humans in the real world that have real human foibles, and then we can start to design around that.